and there's nothing better than a little dirt bath. We'll get to a dirty man here in a second. Well, as a matter of fact, we weren't going to lead with it. But anyway, long story short, the dirtiest man, he's 96 years old. They forced him to take a bath, and now he's dead.
Well, this shows, when it comes down to it, people will say that you're wrong. Right? How many times people tell me?
How many times?
People tell me every day in email form, Henry, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
And guess what? You know what? Sometimes my wrong makes me right.
Absolutely, because your body is used to it.
Your body just gets used to being flagrantly wrong for as long as humanly possible. Yes, the world's dirtiest man. Also, he dies at 94 of a bath.
So, I mean, he just barely met the Queen's age of 96.
Man, I feel like, you know what's sad is because they put right here, his name is Amu Haji. They called him Uncle Haji.
Oh.
And apparently one time because he lived in Desga, I believe. I don't know how to pronounce that. This is a village in the southern province of Furs. Now, this is down, I believe this is in Iran.
It's in Iran.
And he, a lot of complicated issues happening there.
Well, he really did. And the sad thing is, he said he didn't bathe, quote, because of emotional setbacks in his youth.
I bet.
Yes.
I can see. I mean, that's why you got to soft pants.
Absolutely.
Because it's trauma that it's now become, you have to now treat your legs more kindly than your parents treated you.
ABC, always be cozy. So anyway, this does go to show you sometimes you're doing it right, even if they tell you you're doing it wrong.
Absolutely. Almost every single time, because he had a staunch stance. This is in Gainesville, Texas. It is a hotel where I believe it was like a house he was letting out. There was a woman had by the name of Linda Hill who was trying to get people to stay at her home. Now, she'd rented out, and she said the problem is that she couldn't get people to stay for longer than 6 months. That's the longest tenant that she had.
That's a pretty long tenant, but okay.
But the reason why was they all said the same thing. This house is haunted. And she said, all right, whatever. I don't believe any of you. I think all of you are a bunch of muckrakers.
Sure.
I think you guys are a bunch of finaglers.
Absolutely.
Right? And you're trying to get out of your deals. All right. So I'm going to stay in the house myself, and I'm going to see just how fucking haunted this house is. And it turns out
a very sexy version of House on Haunted Hill.
Oh, yes.
It's the House on Horny Hill.
House on Horny Hill. Now, they named, I believe they changed the name of the house to I'll get there. So the house in question, now this is Gainesville, Texas. Now this was all uncovered by the WFAA news station down in Texas.
And the WFAA news station is doing some of the greatest ghost research of any news station. And I am just so happy that there's nothing else going on in the great state of Texas for them to focus on. Because let's be honest, this house on Denton Street, woo-wee. There's a lot of stuff going on.
I actually don't mind this one. I think that, honestly, this is good ghost reporting. So the woman decided to move back into her home, and she said, whatever, all right, so we'll see what happens. And so one night, now Linda Hill, she's on the other side of the hill, but still,
maybe.
You never know. She's still looking fresh, but she went to take a shower.
She went to take a shower, unlike that man.
Just imagine in your mind, okay, your Nana. She's not your Nana, but somebody else is looking at her.
This
sexually.
is, again, why GILFs are all over your Instagram, because you fantasize about elderly women and having sex with them, which is nothing wrong with that. We've all seen Harold and Maude.
I'm trying to make the audience feel this, okay? So you smell that old shoe smell, right? Like you go it's your grandma's house, but you think it's sexy.
Mothballs.
Right? You're like, ooh, mothballs. That means those dresses need to come out. Ooh, yeah, I need to rip those dresses off that woman because they'll be threadbare because they've been slowly been bitten by moths. So maybe now there's holes in the dresses where I can see her breasts.
Wow. And whatever fragrance the Home Shopping Network is selling that year, which is always interesting.
So sawdust.
Yes.
And so she goes in there, she's taking a shower, she's all sudsed up, probably with that orthopedic soap that keeps your skin on you.
As you should.
And then all of a sudden she heard a voice as clear as day that said, looking good.
Looking good.
And she said she thought it was her husband saying, you haven't looked at me for years. Like she yelled at her husband, right? Being like, okay, you're looking at me. Why don't you can't put your money where your mouth is? And then the husband's like, who the fuck you talking to? From outside, right?
Right.
Because
the husband now cannot be jealous of this ghost. How
it's
is he
too
going
late.
to fight the ghost? Come at me, ghost.
The husband's way more like, all right, you fuck her.
Well, absolutely having fun with it again. She says she saw, quote, a dark figure on the other side of the curtain. And as Henry said, whispered, looking good, which does make me think that this ghost Suave guy. Nice dude.
Well.
Regular. Well, usually the ghost says something a little bit more cryptic, like, get me out of here.
Get out of
but
here.
Just a nice looking good.
Yes, but it kind of goes farther, right? Because she said the tenants, once she heard it herself, she was like, all right, I'll believe. And so she opened the house up. She called it the Hill House Manor. And she opened the house up to paranormal investigators.
Should have called it the house on Horny Hill.
I mean, she's not in marketing.
Come on.
And so they put out, they started going and doing ghost hunts, and they said they were picking up EVP of even more dirty talk in the house.
Now, was the dad just watching Pornhub
I don't
really
know.
loud in the basement?
Or maybe he couldn't figure out how to work a Bluetooth, and it's just zip-zapping over several different speakers throughout the home.
By the way, don't worry. The Pope did just come out and say nuns and priests watch porn. So we covered that.
It's fine. Good.
They're the stars of half of the goddamn stuff we watch. So
yeah, I mean, they wanted me.
Let's get into one more creepy tale.
Now, this is about the mysterious death of Henry McCabe.
Ooh.
Now, Henry McCabe, nice guy. I don't know, actually.
We don't know.
He was 32. He worked as an auditor, so maybe he wasn't great.
No, he's always yelling at people for stuff.
And he lived in Minnesota.
Minnesota?
This must be Minnesota.
Minnesota or
no.
Minnesota?
I think it's
Minnesota, Mississippi, Minnesota?
I don't know.
That's
I
ridiculous.
don't know. I just
you can't
don't
combine
sometimes-
those two things.
No, you really can't.
It's really nice. What's that going to create?
It's Minnesota.
Okay.
Right. So he went missing on September 7th, 2015. Now, as it goes, he was hanging out with his bro. Him and his friend. It was Labor Day weekend. And him and his
fun
bro,
weekend.
absolutely, William Kennedy, they were drinking at the club.
Ted Kennedy. Okay.
Right? Yep. Oh, yes, you remember. You remember. Now, according to William Kennedy, now this is weird because he said that he had taken his keys and his phone because Henry McCabe was doing a little bit of the, how do you say it? Weekend warrior. He's away from his wife and his kids.
Got you.
And so he's getting evilly hammered away from everybody.
So he's taking the keys so he doesn't drive home.
That's what he did.
Perfect.
But still, he was he couldn't handle his buddy anymore. So he let him off at a gas station. It's we've all been there.
You got to
right?
figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, you'll be like, now, Henry, this is your night.
Yes.
Right? And so Henry, it was around 2 a.m. He got dropped off at this gas station, which was the last time anybody would ever see Henry ever again until they saw his body. Right? Now, the policemen, they did find Henry McCabe's body in a lake. Right? It was called Rush Lake, like the band.
Sure.
And it took the officials, it took 2 months to find him.
Well,
right?
that's quite a long time. Must have been
He
cold.
disappeared. Yes, he disappeared. It was cold, right? Now, when they found him, there was no marks, no cuts, no wounds, no gunshots. There was nothing.
I mean, he's dead.
It was really weird. He's dead.
But it's always like, oh, there's nothing wrong. It's like he's dead.
But he somehow drowned in a lake that apparently was very difficult to get access to. It was actually surrounded by a chain link fence.
Buddy, how many times have you been drunk and looked back and you're like, how the hell did I get here?
I will say that has happened, but normally there's the cuts to show that I've done it. You know what I mean? Where you've been
Sometimes I feel
somehow got out of this. You know how many times I remember this one time we were having fun. It was one weekend in Tallahassee, and we had this Santa suit for Murderfist, and me, Eddie, and Palin, the other guy who lived with us, we decided to each be Santa for a different Halloween party at each night.
Great.
But the night before, Palin, he was drinking a bunch of Robitussin, and he had the Santa suit on, and he thought it would be funny to just roll down a hill.
Why wouldn't
right?
you?
Because he was like, oh, yeah. And then he did the thing where he rolled. We're like, what are you doing, bro? And he's like, look, man, I'm not hurt. And it's like his arm was broken.
You know, it's funny. I actually rolled down a hill in college as well, and that's where I got my blood clot.
Yeah, it really fucks you up. But yeah, so we don't know, right? So they asked his buddy about this, and he told the police, he's like, all right, I dropped Henry away from me, right? He was being he was in a, quote, terrible state due to alcohol. Right? Now, they found Henry's body. It was 4 miles away from the gas station.
Okay.
They found it 2 months later. But this is where things get interesting. So he lived in California. So he was with his buddy, right, in Minnesota hanging out. Now, his wife was in California. Around 2:23 a.m., she received a call from him. Now, this is 20 minutes after William had dropped him off.
Okay.
Now, they apparently had a bit of a harsh conversation. But then somewhere in there, he said, I got shot. And she was just like, all right, whatever.
I think he said I had shots tonight.
I think that she said I had shots at them, right? Now, he said there was weird sounds, right? Blah, blah, blah. We don't know what happened. They hang up, right? Then she gets another call. Now, this is a clip of the voicemail that she got, right? That she left. She just let it go because they had a drunken argument, and then he called again, and she just let it go to voicemail.
Yes, mumbling argument.
Now, this is the audio.
We've all been there. So that's your animals there.
Yeah, well,
you got your cows. Maybe there's I think I heard a chicken.
We don't know what happened. And according to the reports
just
and
went
the
to a
evidence,
farm.
There's no farm.
It's Minnesota.
I don't know.
They're full of farms.
Who knows? They're full of something.
He may have been trying to do something horrible to that cow.
Who knows? So Henry McCabe, they're saying that he died of alcoholism. They believe that he didn't even drown. And he went into the lake. He somehow got up in the lake, was like
going swimming,
blah, 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 and then died of. That's what, according to them. That's according to the police. And now what people are saying here,
how many
is that
animals did he have sex with before he died?
There's no evidence of. There is no evidence.
Can
of
we
bestiality.
play that one more time? I am pretty sure I'm hearing the moans of passion.
But he had no marks, cuts. There was no bullets.
Let's play this. Oh yeah, there's a horse. Oh yeah, there's a cow, a horse involved, maybe a lamb.
It's not a child's toy.
I'm hearing a lamb.
No, you're hearing noises. You want the slower play? Yeah, play the slower play.
Yeah, let's
listen.
Let's slow this down a little bit then.
It's slower.
That's your horse. That's a long neigh. Here's the lamb.
I don't know if you've ever been to a zoo.
I'm getting a giraffe. Now I think there's a giraffe in there.
I think you're just afraid to be vulnerable. You're afraid to be afraid.
No, these are the moans of animals.
What, humans or animals?
Yes, he's doing something to these animals, and then I think he died. I think he died like fisting a cow.
They're saying,
that's the.
He was in a lake. They found him in a lake. He had no marks on his body. They don't know what to do. They said he was surrounded by the chain link fence, dense foliage with no creeks leading to the lake. They have no clue how he got in there. It's a little bit of Lisa Lammy, and it's just weird. It's one of those fun things. But yes, it could just be the power of alcohol.
Another story involving lambs, indeed. Wow.